Over the years, many couples have come to us for help with their problems. We routinely ask several standard questions, no matter what situation they describe. Recently, for instance, when Hannah and Robert came in for their initial session, I said to them, "Tell me about the chronic irritations in your relationship. Perhaps it's the same old fight that never gets resolved. Maybe it's a pattern of relating that occurs again and again. Where do you get stuck?" Hannah looked at Robert and they laughed. "That's easy," she smiled. "It happened in the car on the drive to your office. I'm always the one bringing up the problems, so Robert is always telling me I'm controlling. I was mad at him because he didn't know what he wanted to talk about in our counseling session. He's too passive. I want him to initiate more and try harder." Robert chimed in, "I do try. It's just never enough for you, Hannah." Hannah looked at me. "See? Now he will pout and withdraw, and nothing will get resolved." I summarized, "So, no matter what problem you want to discuss, this is your same old dance, the pattern that happens over and over. Is that correct?" Robert and Hannah both nodded. They had pinpointed their core pattern. Some couples who are just dating can already describe their core pattern. A core pattern is the predictable way you and your spouse react to each other that leaves each of you frustrated and dissatisfied. Some are married a few years before it is apparent, but sooner or later, couples can readily identify the same old place where they get stuck. Maybe it's the same complaints that come up again and again without ever getting resolved, or a familiar pattern of fighting, no matter what the topic. Milan and I are no different. We were married in 1972, and by 1976, we had discovered the classic scene that would play itself out over and over for 10 more years of our marriage. We would put the kids to bed and collapse on the couch. I would pick up a magazine and begin to thumb through it, and Milan would sit quietly watching me. This was a familiar feeling. I knew he was taking my emotional temperature. I was hoping he would pick up the remote and turn on the television. "How are you doing?" he would ask. "Did you have a good day?" I would feel myself getting annoyed. "Why do you keep asking me that? You already asked me that question 2 times since you came home from work. It's the same answer. I'm fine." We were starting the wearisome dance that would send us both to bed angry and frustrated, so I would try to derail the invitation. "I think there's a game on TV tonight." But Milan was always undeterred. "If you're fine, then why did it bother you when I hugged and kissed you when I came home from work? I'm happy to see you, and you act like it's a chore to give me a little affection. You've been distant all evening. What's going on?" Then came my loud sigh. "I wish you would go away and let me read my magazine," I would think. But for some reason, I would begin to explain, knowing it wouldn't help. "I've had kids hanging on me all day. When you got home, I was in the middle of cooking dinner and supervising homework, and you want me to drop everything. Why do you always have to make such a big deal?" The next steps of the dance were predictable. Milan would give me examples of my lack of affection and attentiveness, and I would tell him he was too needy and made me feel smothered. If you have been married for a few years, you can probably describe your own recurring fight, the discussion you've had repeatedly that never gets settled. You can probably also describe the ways you avoid dealing with problems, and they may be some of the same lines we hear in our offices every day. "I try hard to make you happy, but you are never satisfied. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with you. I've told you over and over what I need, and you just won't do it. Why can't you be more spontaneous and passionate? If you would listen and do what I ask, I wouldn't be angry. I'm happy with the way things are. You're the one who's always bringing up problems. You say you're sorry, but nothing changes." Are any of these steps in your same old dance? Maybe, like us, you find yourself locked in the same tiring dance. Maybe you've tried to change your marriage and have been disappointed with the results. Much marriage advice focuses on treating symptoms and surface issues. You think if it were possible to simply stop certain behaviors and do something different, it would be that easy. But trying to change the things on the surface misses the underlying issues. Occasionally, the adjustment brings good results and the annoying problem dies down, but it always comes back because there are source patterns guiding those bumbling steps, and until you address them, the dance won't get any better. Marriage is the most challenging relationship you will ever have, and to think otherwise is to live in denial.